The jungle sang with blue fire. Bioluminescent vines pulsed like veins across the trees of Karelin 5, and the air shimmered with drifting spores that glowed faintly when disturbed. To the Threx Dominion strike squad lying in wait, it looked like the perfect backdrop for a human ambush. They had all seen the archives. They had watched grainy footage of humans tearing through enemies like incarnations of primal war gods. Entire Dominion academies taught that humans were the one species you never encounter alone. So when their sensors detected a single human approaching, the squad commander's mandibles clicked in disbelief. No escorts, hissed Officer Kerartel. No armor? No visible weapon? No, the sensor officer replied, shrinking. Just walking. A chill crawled through the squad. Only a human would walk calmly toward a Dominion strike team. Only a human would dare. Sergeant Noah Hale stepped into the clearing with his palms open, unarmed and unarmored. His boots pressed softly into the glowing moss. His hair was tied back tight. His eyes scanned, not fearfully but thoughtfully, like he was taking in the beauty of the world rather than the threat. Kerartel felt his spines rise. This was worse than an armed human. This was a confident one. "Identify yourself," he barked, his voice trembling despite his training. Noah stopped, and smiled gently. "Sergeant Noah Hale," he said. "United Terran Diplomatic Corps. I'm here to talk." The squad froze. Human. Soldier. Diplomatic Corps. All three words together felt like a contradiction in reality. Kerartel's second-in-command leaned close. "Commander, permission to retreat and request reinforcements?" "Denied," Kerartel hissed. "If the human intends violence, reinforcements won't matter." Noah clearly heard them. His species had exceptional hearing, but he pretended he didn't. He simply waited, hands still open. "What is your objective here?" Kerartel demanded. Noah exhaled, slow and calm. "To prevent a war neither of us wants." Another impossibility. Humans were supposed to love war. "That is illogical," said the censor officer. "Your kind is prone to aggression." Noah chuckled. "We're prone to everything. Violence, hope, stupidity, creativity. But mostly, we're good at surviving long enough to learn better." The aliens exchanged nervous glances. No human in their archives spoke like this. None had stood alone facing an armed squad without reaching for a weapon. "Why should we believe you?" Kerartel growled. Noah lowered himself to sit on a rock, deliberately exposing himself. "Because if I wanted to hurt you, I wouldn't be sitting down." Every weapon in the clearing trembled. Every Threx heart pounded. The most dangerous creature they'd ever been trained to fear was sitting down. Minutes passed. Noah let the silence stretch. He'd been trained for this, to let others hear their own heartbeat long enough to understand their fear. Finally, Kerartel stepped forward. "Your archives show mass slaughter," he said. "Entire fleets destroyed by humans. Why should we believe you are not the same?" Noah's expression softened. Pain flickered behind his eyes. "Because we remember those battles too. And we wish they'd never happened." The aliens didn't understand. No species regretted winning. "Explain," Kerartel demanded. Noah's voice dropped to a quiet, grave tone. "We fight hard because we learned what happens when we don't. Our history is full of monsters, but they were us. Humans who forgot empathy, who chose fear over compassion. We carry that shame on purpose, so we don't repeat it." That was new. The archives had never shown humanity's shame, only its fury. "You mean," Kerartel said slowly, "you fear yourselves?" Noah nodded. "Every day." A ripple of unease passed through the Threx. Maybe humans weren't fearless. Maybe fear was exactly why they grew strong, and why they learned restraint. Then a sound cut the air. A metallic click. The Threx immediately aimed their weapons, but Noah raised a hand sharply. "Don't fire. It's just my drone." A small spherical drone floated through the jungle mist toward him, its lights scanning. "Status?" Noah asked it. "Dominion fleet en route," the drone reported. Weapons charged. Estimated arrival, 9 minutes. Weapons charged. At those words, every Threx weapon locked on Noah again. Kerartal hissed, mandibles flaring. You lured us. No, Noah said firmly. I tried to arrive before your fleet did. I failed. He stood up slowly. I'm asking you to help me stop both our sides from making a mistake. Kerartal nearly choked. You ask us to defy the Dominion fleet? I'm asking you, Noah said, stepping forward, to choose understanding over the fear someone else taught you. Then he reached into his vest. The Threx panicked. Weapons charged. Noah froze. Easy, he murmured. I'm just showing you something. He slowly withdrew a small hollow emitter and clicked it. A projection shimmered. Not war footage. Not human fleets. It was a single image. A child, Threx in appearance, holding hands with a human child, both smiling. A school on Terra, Noah said softly. My niece's class. She sits next to a Threx student named Kelry. Our people can coexist. We already do. Silence. Absolute silence. Kerartal stared at the image as if it were forbidden. A Threx child living safely on a human world? Impossible. Unless everything they believed was wrong. Why show us this? He whispered. Because I want you to go home, Noah said, and tell your leaders the truth. Humans aren't monsters. We just look like them when we're scared. A distant rumble echoed. The Dominion fleet was descending. Noah stepped back and raised his hands again. If you leave now, I'll tell my fleet you never fired a shot. Kerartal trembled. This human, this terrifying, calm, open-handed human, was giving them a way out. And for the first time, Kerartal believed him. Retreat, he ordered. Immediately. The squad scrambled into the glowing jungle. But Kerartal looked back one last time. Noah Hale stood alone, hands open, eyes heavy with the burden of representing a species known for fury, but remembered for mercy. The galaxy had feared humans. Today they would learn why they shouldn't. The sky split open. A thunderous ripple of violet clouds spiraled as the Threx Dominion fleet punched through the upper atmosphere of Corellan 5. Their vessels were angular, serrated things, warships that looked like flying blades. They descended in perfect formation toward the glowing jungle clearing where a single human stood unarmed. Sergeant Noah Hale didn't move. He watched them the way someone watches rain approaching, steady, calm, accepting. Behind him, his spherical drone hummed nervously. Fleet weapons remain hot, it reported. Multiple targeting locks on your position. Keep broadcasting my ID tag, Noah said. And don't do anything heroic. I am incapable of heroism, the drone replied flatly. Noah smirked. Good. Stay that way. A gale of heat washed over him as the first Threx landing barge touched down. The earth shook. Bioluminescent spores burst into the air like shimmering dust. A triangular ramp slammed downward, and a platoon of Dominion soldiers poured out, rifles raised. Every barrel pointed at Noah's heart. He lifted his hands again. The second ramp descended. Then the third. Then the command barge. From that last one emerged a towering Threx with obsidian-black armor and a crest of sharpened spines. High Marshal Zerkal, commander of the frontier fleets and keeper of the ancient anti-human doctrines. The very Threx responsible for declaring humanity a galactic threat. He stepped forward, glaring down at Noah as if he were staring at a nuclear device. So, Zerkal growled, the monster shows itself. Noah exhaled through his nose. Good evening to you too. The marshal circled him once, studying him like a predator evaluating prey. No armor. No escort. No blade. You present yourself as harmless. His mandibles spread into a cruel grin. Humans are many things. Harmless is not one of them. Depends on the day, Noah said. That threw several soldiers off balance. The tone. The casualness. No human in the old archives sounded like that. Zerkal jabbed a claw at him. You will kneel. No, Noah said gently. Gasps rippled through the squad. A dozen rifles tightened. Zerkal leaned forward, voice cold. If you refuse, you will be executed. Then your entire fleet will be ash and static, Noah replied softly. Not because we want revenge, because my standing orders require a counterstrike if I die during diplomatic contact. The Marshal froze. Noah held his gaze. The Terran Assembly doesn't want war, he continued. But it will not allow its envoys to be murdered. Zerkal's rage simmered. You threaten us with annihilation. No, Noah said. I'm warning you of consequences. The difference landed heavily. A voice crackled in the Marshal's comm. High Marshal, the forward scouts report the human squad we expected is not present. Only this one arrived. And? Zerkal demanded. The scouts believe he came alone intentionally. Zerkal stared at Noah, something flickering behind his eyes. You came alone, the Marshal said slowly, to negotiate with an empire that fears you. That might be why I came alone, Noah replied. And why, Zerkal hissed, would that help? Because fear is loud, Noah said. One calm voice cuts through it. A silence stretched. No Threx, ever, would have walked into a situation like this alone. But humans? Humans had been mythologized as the species too stubborn to die, too reckless to fear, too emotional to predict. They terrified the galaxy because they didn't behave the way others expected. And nothing in the archives prepared Zerkal for a human like Noah Hale. You claim you seek peace, the Marshal said. But history shows humanity burns planets when provoked. Noah nodded. History also shows the Threx enslaved half their frontier neighbors. A ripple of shock went through the soldiers. You dare. I dare tell the truth, Noah said. Because if we're going to build something better, someone has to say the quiet parts first. Another silence. Dominion soldiers shifted nervously. The human was unarmed, but every word he spoke felt like a weapon, sharp, precise, undeniable. Zerkal snarled. You presume to lecture us? No, Noah said. I'm inviting you to something different. And what is that? A future, Noah said, where our children don't grow up afraid of each other. The memory of the holoimage from Chapter 1 flickered in Noah's mind, his niece beside the Threx child. But he didn't show it yet. Not until the moment mattered. A heavy rumble vibrated the ground. Noah's drone chimed urgently. Marshal's flagship powering primary cannon. It is aimed at us. Zerkal snapped a command. Ignore the human's device. Stand by for firing order. Noah's expression hardened for the first time. He stepped forward. Threx rifles jerked reflexively, but he raised one steady hand. Marshal, he said, if your flagship fires, this moon becomes a funeral pyre. Zerkal's mandibles clicked. You think we fear death? I think, Noah said, your soldiers do. The words hit like a blade. Because behind the Marshal several soldiers did look afraid. Not of Noah. Of dying for a misunderstanding. Noah turned his head slightly, speaking loudly enough for all to hear. I'm not your enemy. And you're not mine. You were trained to fear us. We were trained to defend ourselves from you. None of us asked for that legacy. He paused. Let us choose our own. Zerkal's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. You claim humans can choose peace. Prove it. Noah reached slowly into his vest again. Soldiers braced. Rifles rose. Easy, Noah murmured. This is the part where you decide whether you trust me. He brought out the hollow emitter once more. A projection flashed. This time, not children. A battlefield. Bodies. Smoke. Fire. Humans fighting humans. No Threx in sight. This, Noah said quietly, is our shame. A war from our past. We don't hide it. We teach it. We force ourselves to remember what we're capable of. Zerkal stiffened. No species showed its worst moments so openly. Noah switched the image. 2 human medics helping a wounded enemy soldier. Then another. A human commander shielding civilians during a bombardment. Then another. Humanity's brutality. Humanity's compassion. Side by side. Strength isn't how hard we hit, Noah said. It's how hard we refuse to hit when we don't have to. The marshal stared. The soldiers stared. The jungle held its breath. The comms crackled loudly. High Marshal orders? Fire. Zerkal didn't answer. His gaze stayed locked on Noah, the monster from the archives, the diplomat in the clearing, the human who dared to stand alone before an empire built on fear. Finally, he raised a claw to his throat. Flagship, he rasped, cease charging. Hold position. The soldiers exhaled sharply, some in relief, some in confusion. Noah lowered the hollow emitter. So, he said, voice gentle, can we talk now? Zerkal's crest twitched. For the moment, he admitted. But understand this, human. You walk a knife's edge. My empire does not forgive easily. Noah nodded. Then I'll just have to be very convincing. The marshal turned to his soldiers. Lower your weapons. One by one, the rifles dropped. The first gesture of trust. Noah let out a slow breath. The hardest part was still ahead. But for now, the galaxy had taken its first step toward understanding. The negotiation table was a fallen log. The conference room was a clearing lit by drifting blue spores. And the only thing keeping two superpowers from war was a human sitting cross-legged on soft moss and a Threx High Marshal trying to understand why his enemy refused to act like one. Noah Hale rested his hands on his knees, deliberately relaxed. Zerkal stood rigid, claws flexing in the air as if they missed holding a weapon. You understand, the Marshal said slowly, that this discussion is irregular. Good, Noah replied. Irregular is how peace starts. Zerkal clicked his mandibles in irritation. Human wordplay. Diplomacy, Noah corrected with a faint smile. Think of it as combat, but the objective is for everyone to walk away. The Marshal paced. His armored steps left deep indentations in the glowing earth. My soldiers fear you, he said. My council fears you. Entire generations were trained to believe humans are unstoppable berserkers. Well, Noah said, some of us are bad at mornings. Zerkal didn't get the joke, but several Threx soldiers watching from a distance did. A few exchanged glances as if surprised they hadn't already died. Suddenly the drone buzzed. Sergeant, it chimed, incoming transmission. Terran Fleet Commander. Noah stood. Zerkal tensed immediately. You will not summon reinforcements here. Noah held up a calming hand. It's just a call. He tapped the device. A shimmering field appeared beside him, a hologram of Admiral Saran Vance, the Terran Fleet's most disciplined officer. Silver hair, sharp eyes, a voice like steel through velvet. Hail, she said. Your signal shows you're surrounded by Dominion troops. Status? Negotiating, Noah said. The Admiral arched an eyebrow. Negotiating with an armed Dominion landing force is not protocol. I improvised. He always improvises, the drone added unhelpfully. Noah ignored it. Zerkal stepped forward into the hologram's view. The Admiral stiffened instantly. High Marshal, she said coldly. Admiral. The air felt electrically charged between them, two apex predators meeting across a line of light. Vance spoke first. If your fleet fires on my envoy, I will glass your entire armada. That is not a threat. It is a strategic inevitability. Noah sighed. Admiral. Hale, you are outnumbered and in danger. Zerkal jabbed a claw. He walked here alone. Vance glanced at Noah with visible disapproval. Of course he did. Noah stepped between them, raising both hands like a referee at the galaxy's most reckless boxing match. Admiral, Marshal, please. I need 10 more minutes. Don't escalate. Hale, Vance said, if you die. I won't die, he said gently. Zerkal snorted. Humans say that before every suicidal charge. Marshal, Noah replied, I'm not charging. I'm talking. And for reasons Zerkal couldn't fathom, that was somehow more terrifying. Vance's projection flickered. 10 minutes, Hale. No more. The hologram vanished. Noah rolled his shoulders lightly. All right. Where were we? The marshal stared at him with something between suspicion and fascination. You are a strange creature, he said. You walk unarmed into danger. You speak with your commanders as if you command them. You show shame to your enemy and laughter to those who fear you. Noah shrugged. Humans are complicated. Complicated, Zerkal repeated. Your kind burned an entire Dominion colony in 3 hours. Noah's eyes lowered. I know. I studied that battle. It keeps me awake at night. Why? The marshal demanded. The Dominion would not lose sleep over victory. That, Noah said quietly, is why you keep losing allies. The clearing fell silent. Threk's soldiers stiffened. Zerkal's eyes narrowed. Explain. Strength without empathy, Noah said, is just intimidation. And intimidation collapses the moment someone stronger arrives. He tapped his chest. Humans learned that the hard way, so we decided to be stronger and kinder. Not for moral superiority. For survival. Zerkal blinked, taken aback. Survival. Empires fall, Noah said. Cooperation lasts. It was an old Terran lesson, one it took humanity centuries to understand. They weren't the strongest species, nor the fastest, nor the most advanced. But they were the one species that clawed its way to unity by nearly destroying itself. Zerkal looked away for the first time. Something was shaking in him. Not fear. Understanding. But the moment shattered as another transmission hit the marshal's comm. High Marshal, a panicked officer shouted. Terran fleet repositioning. Their heavy cruisers are charging main cannons. Zerkal whipped around. Admiral Vance dares? Noah immediately stepped between the marshal and his troop. This is posturing, Noah said quickly. A show of strength so no one does anything stupid. To aim weapons at a Dominion fleet, Zerkal snarled, is stupid. Noah took a slow breath. Marshal, look at me. Zerkal hesitated. Then he did. Noah's voice softened, but it cut through the clearing like a blade of truth. I stood here unarmed to earn your trust. Now I need you to trust me again. That your fleet will not fire? Zerkal demanded. Yes. And what of my fleet? My officers grow restless. Then order them to stand down for 60 seconds, Noah said. Just 60. I'll handle Vance. Zerkal stared hard. That requires faith. It requires courage, Noah corrected. The marshal's mandibles twitched. Then, he raised his clawed hand. Dominion fleet, he growled through the comm, hold your fire. All ships. Stand by. The Threk soldiers stared at their marshal as if he'd just attempted suicide. Noah turned to his drone. Patch me through to Vance. The drone beeped. Connection established. The Admiral's hollow form flickered back into the clearing. Hale, your window expired. Admiral, Noah interrupted softly, stand down. Zerkal stiffened. Vance's eyes narrowed. Explain. Noah gestured around the clearing. Look. The marshal ordered his fleet to hold fire. His soldiers lowered their weapons. They're listening. Vance's jaw shifted. Noah's voice lowered to a whisper that only the two commanders could fully feel the weight of. If you escalate now, he said, you'll prove every fear they have about us. The Admiral exhaled slowly. Then, Terran fleet, she commanded, power down primary cannons. Maintain defensive posture only. Noah closed his eyes briefly. Peace, however fragile, tightened into place. Zerkal approached him. Slowly. Carefully. You, the marshal said, are unlike any human in our archives. We're rewriting them, Noah said. Not yet, Zerkal replied. But perhaps soon. The marshal tapped his chest plate, an old Threk's gesture of respect only given to warriors who chose the harder path. Sergeant Noah Hale, Zerkal said, I will speak to my council. I will tell them a human showed restraint, even when surrounded. And I'll report you showed trust, Noah replied. Trust, the Marshal murmured, tasting the unfamiliar word. We will see if the galaxy can afford it. He extended one large, clawed hand. The soldiers gasped. Diplomatic contact. Noah didn't hesitate. He took it, not like a handshake, but as two species holding a future between them. Dominion and Terran fleets hovered in the sky, silent for the first time. The jungle glowed softly around them. Two enemies stood in a clearing made sacred by choice, not victory. For the first time in generations, the galaxy witnessed a human's greatest weapon: patience. The truce held for exactly 48 seconds. Then everything went to hell. A shriek ripped through the sky as a Dominion scout corvette, one operating on automated anti-human protocols, broke formation and dove toward the clearing with its weapons fully armed. Zerkal snarled. Noah swore under his breath. The drone buzzed a panicked alarm. Marshal! Noah shouted. That ship's not following your orders. Corvette 91, stand down. Zerkal barked through his comm. Your attack will violate. But the corvette didn't answer. It accelerated. Straight toward Noah. Threk's soldiers screamed warnings. Several lifted weapons but hesitated. The ceasefire was still active, and firing without command could spark a war anyway. Noah did not run. He didn't even step back. He simply breathed once. Damn it! Then he moved. He sprinted, not away from the descending ship, but toward the nearest cluster of Threk's soldiers who had frozen under the shadow of the incoming blast. Move! Noah yelled, throwing his shoulder into one of them. Go, go, go! The soldiers stumbled backward in shock. Humans weren't supposed to protect Threk's. Every archive, every doctrine, every ancestral memory said humans let their enemies burn. But Noah shoved another soldier aside just as the corvette's guns lit with lethal blue. Sergeant, the drone screeched. Impact in 2 seconds. Noah! Zerkal roared. And then the jungle exploded. A column of plasma fire slammed into the ground where Noah stood, engulfing the clearing in a wave of scorched spores and blinding light. Threk's helmets auto-darkened. Earth trembled. Vines ignited. Shockwaves rolled out in rings. Zerkal lowered his arm, stunned. Human. Then the smoke parted. Noah was still standing. Barely. He had one arm in front of his face, uniform smoking, blood streaked across his cheek. Not from the blast, but from hitting the ground to push soldiers away. His breathing was rough but controlled. The Threk soldiers stared at him as if witnessing a myth. He wiped soot from his eyes. Okay, he rasped, that was rude. The automated corvette rose for a second pass. Zerkal's fury ignited. Destroy that ship, he roared. Dominion gun crews obeyed instantly. A volley of emerald railfire tore through the corvette, ripping its hull apart in a thunderous cascade. Burning fragments scattered across the sky like dying stars. Noah watched the pieces fall. Then he looked at Zerkal. The Marshal stared back, awed, confused, shaken. You threw yourself into the blast, Zerkal said slowly. For my soldiers. 4 people who didn't deserve to die today, Noah replied, rubbing his shoulder. Doesn't matter what species they are. Zerkal's mandibles twitched. The soldiers Noah shoved out of the blast looked at each other, and then at him, with something approaching reverence. One stepped forward. Human, you saved us. Noah nodded tiredly. That was the idea. Another whispered, this contradicts all doctrine. Then update your doctrine, Noah muttered. But the danger wasn't over. Noah's drone beeped urgently. Sergeant, Terran fleet escalation imminent. They believe you were killed in the explosion. Noah's eyes went wide. No, 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 Vance, don't you dare. The drone projected a massive hologram overhead. Admiral Saran Vance, eyes burning, voice like a storm. Dominion forces, she thundered across comm channels. You have attacked my envoy. Terran fleets prepare retaliatory strike. Target all Threk's warships. Noah cupped his hands around his mouth and screamed upward. Vance, you'll start a war over my corpse? I'm still alive. The Admiral froze mid-sentence, then leaned closer to her mic. Hail! Noah waved weakly at the sky. Hi. Still here. Slightly more crispy. Several Threx soldiers made confused chittering sounds. This human was yelling at his own fleet commander like she was a stubborn housecat. Zerkal was too stunned to speak. The Admiral exhaled with a shudder that only Noah understood. Report. Automated Threx ship malfunction, Noah shouted. Marshall took it down. Ceasefire intact. Stand down. A pause. Then slowly. Terran fleet, Vance ordered, power down all primary weapons. Hold position. Noah turned to Zerkal. Your turn. The Marshal inhaled sharply, then barked. Dominion fleet, hold fire. Anyone who acts without my authorization will be court-martialed. Finally, the sky went quiet again. The war dissolved, for the second time in minute. Zerkal approached Noah slowly, staring at the scorch mark burned into the ground. You protected my soldiers, he said quietly. You risked your life, without hesitation. Noah shrugged one shoulder. What's the point of diplomacy if I don't act like I mean it? That, Zerkal replied, was more than diplomacy. That was sacrifice. Noah shook his head. No. That was responsibility. The Marshal tilted his head. Explain. When humans give our word, Noah said softly, we don't break it. I promised you peace. So I acted like it mattered. Zerkal's voice dropped almost to a whisper. Humans keep promises even when it hurts them? Especially then. The Marshal stared at him with an intensity that made his soldiers shift uncomfortably. You are not the monster of our archives, Zerkal said finally. Noah gave him a tired half-smile. Told you. We're rewriting them. Then something unexpected happened. Zerkal knelt. The High Marshal of the Dominion, kneeling before a human. His soldiers gasped. Some dropped their rifles in shock. I, Zerkal, son of the Ninth Brood, he said solemnly, acknowledge this human as a warrior of honor. His sacrifice binds me. His courage obligates me. From this moment, no Dominion ship will fire on a Terran vessel without my direct order. Noah blinked, stunned. Marshal, you don't have to kneel. I do, Zerkal replied, rising slowly. Because today I saw what humans truly are. Dangerous, yes, but not because you are ruthless. He tapped Noah's chest with a claw, lightly. But because you are relentless in your mercy. Noah sighed. That's surprisingly poetic. Zerkal growled. Do not ruin the moment. Sorry. The Marshal lifted his chin high. I will return home, he declared, and challenge our doctrines. I will speak to the Dominion Council. I will tell them humanity is not the beast we believed. Noah nodded. And I'll tell our assembly the Dominion is capable of trust. Both men, both soldiers, stood in the glowing clearing where an interstellar war almost ignited. Instead, two enemies made a promise, and the galaxy trembled for a different reason. If humans are this dangerous when they pursue peace, what will they be like when someone threatens it? The Helion flagship Aurelius drifted through the velvet dark above Racker Prime, its hull glowing with gold-white energy coils. For the first time in centuries, the flagship's shields were lowered, not for war, but for a human. Sergeant Elias Ward stood on the central dais of the Trinal Council chamber as thousands of delegates rose in silence. Not fear. Not hostility. Expectation. The galaxy had waited for something like this, though none had expected it from the species their history files still labeled extremely reactive primates from a backwater blue-green world. Ambassador Reland stepped beside him, voice low. Sergeant, whatever happens now, you've changed more in 3 days than our diplomats did in 3 centuries. Elias didn't answer. He couldn't. Not yet. Because across the chamber, Supreme Admiral Corthus, the same warlord who once called humanity a statistical threat anomaly, approached with slow, deliberate steps. He carried no weapon. That alone made the entire chamber buzz. Corthus never met anyone without armor, guards, or at least the ceremonial gauntlet of dominance. But now he stood before a human soldier and performed the Corthic bow of peace, forehead lowered, hands open, throat exposed. An act of vulnerability that historically preceded eras or revolutions. Elias bowed back, less formally, but genuinely. The chamber brightened. Corthus stood tall again, his voice thunderous and aged. "Sergeant Ward of Earth," the Admiral declared, "I am told that your people are feared by every power block. They believe humans reckless, uncontrollable, ruled by impulse." His amber eyes narrowed. "And yet here you are. Alone. Diplomacy in one hand, restraint in the other." He tilted his head. "Tell me, what does humanity truly intend?" The entire room leaned forward. Elias's voice echoed with a calm that quieted even the whispering translator drones. "Humanity intends exactly what we showed on Racker. We defend when threatened. We protect when others cannot. And we don't start fights. But we finish them if someone forces our hand." Some delegates flinched. Others nodded grimly. But Elias wasn't finished. He took a breath. "However, we'd rather build bonds than burn worlds. None of us want another war. Not you. Not me. Not anyone on this damn side of the galaxy." Corthus studied him for a long, uncomfortable moment. Then an impossible thing happened. The Admiral smiled. A silent wave rippled as thousands of delegates gasped. "You speak like a warrior who has buried battles," Corthus said gently. "And like a diplomat who has tasted the price of peace." Elias shrugged. "I'm just a soldier who hates seeing good people die." Then something heavy clattered at his feet. Corthus had dropped his gauntlet. Shock froze the entire chamber. A Corthic admiral surrendering his ceremonial gauntlet meant only one thing. A pact of honor. Eternal and binding. "Human," Corthus said, "I offer you the oath of steel. A vow that the Corthic dominion shall never raise arms against Earth. And if others strike at your world, then by our oath, they strike at us." Elias blinked. "Sir, that would change the balance of the entire Armada network." Corthus gave a single nod. "Yes, it would. And I believe it must." The delegates erupted, some in outrage, some in shock, some with applause so thunderous that the very chamber vibrated. Ambassador Relan whispered, "Sergeant, if you accept that gauntlet, you're binding Earth to the single most feared fleet in the galaxy." Elias looked at it, at the gleaming metal, at the weight of what it meant, and he thought of every soldier who never returned home, every world scarred by war, every time humanity had been judged by ancient files instead of actions. He reached down and lifted the gauntlet. The chamber exploded with energy, lights flaring, banners unfolding, drones recording every angle. Corthus struck his chest with pride. "Then let it be known. The Dominion and humanity stand together. Warlords once feared you, human, but now? Now they will fear what we can become together." Elias exhaled, tension leaving his shoulders for the first time since Racker. He stepped forward and offered his hand. "Corthus, partners?" The Admiral hesitated, then gripped the soldier's hand with crushing force. "Partners, Sergeant Ward. May the galaxy tremble." The handshake became the image that would spread across every star network before the hour ended. Later, observation deck. Elias leaned on the railing, watching stars drift past like quiet embers. Relan joined him. "You just altered galactic policy with a handshake," the ambassador said lightly. Elias chuckled. "Strange day." Relan's voice softened. "Humanity will be proud, and afraid, and confused. But one thing is clear now, the galaxy misjudged your species." Elias glanced at his reflection in the glass, just a tired soldier with old scars and a stubborn sense of responsibility. Maybe they did. He paused. Or maybe they were right and they just never met the right human. Relan smiled. "And they met you." Elias shrugged. "Wrong place, wrong time. My specialty." "No," Relan said firmly. "Right human. Right moment. Across the galaxy, on distant worlds, ancient monitors flickered to life. On war-torn stations, soldiers paused mid-drill to stare. On peaceful colonies, children replayed the handshake with wide eyes. A single human soldier standing unarmored before the galaxy's strongest warlord. And choosing peace anyway. The galaxy whispered a single phrase in dozens of languages. Humans are dangerous, but not how we feared. They are dangerous to fight. They are dangerous to lose. And most dangerous of all, when they choose to protect us.